All right, now let's start with midpoints again with the basic or fundamental treaty on midpoints. And again, for those who haven't seen the first video that I have on YouTube about midpoints and maybe not familiar with the topic, is simple. It's this the equal distance between 2 points, and you're looking at the could be planets or it could be points, ascendant, midheaven, and the likes. But it's important to get an understanding of it more so than just really learning the technical jargon. But you can actually see the midpoints that really try to get things together. So let begin with this here. So what this, if you notice the arrow that's bouncing in and out, if you notice the arrow, you'll notice that it is pointing to the shorthand of the moon and the sun and the midpoint. This is one of the first that you will be familiar with. It very essential just to get the understanding of it. And just looking at your chart or your family members chart, it is actually all clients that can be depending on which level that you're doing this on to get further insight. So this can be manifest in two or more ways, and one of them is just knowing the sun and moon where they blend together and you get the energy. Now this here can be in different signs, it can matter in different houses, but what we're going to primarily focus on just the actual symbology of that. So if you got the sun, which can also represent masculinity, it also male figures, the father figure, men in general for the individual life, and the moon, the feminine energy, the mother, the women in life. But it can also represent the home, whereas the sun can also represent leaders of authority and so forth. So it's kind of a good technique and a shortcut hack that I like to call it, and learning fundamentally midpoints. It's fun. It's actually nothing that you can think that it was a long belabored thing. It is very insightful in that sense. So I want to just keep your attention on that. The next thing what we're going to move on to is the transits. Now, once you discovered your midpoints. And let me say this here, you can actually, there's a good site if those, I'm going to take this as nobody having a software, but you can look at online. And here is the site. It's one of them that is really good, and it gives you actually a growing process to learn, because there's other ways that you'll learn further down the line activations of these midpoints too as well. So let's begin with that. And it's called astroseek.com. And again, AstroSeek, and it's a actually very powerful website as far as that, because it goes into other techniques. But we're going to primarily think again that the topic and the theme is midpoints. So when you're looking at transits, and once you discover it, whatever means that you have, your it's called a midpoint sort, or it may become on the midpoint listing, depending on what you're looking at. But if you just Google or online search, whether and just go for midpoints calculations, you should come up onto that site. Now, once you have that, you can actually now develop another way of looking at transits and noticing during the day. So I'm going to give you the two factors, actually three of them. The sun every day changes a degree. So you may, depending on where it's at and depending as well as your midpoint, look at see if that's aspected. Now, I don't have to be on that conjunction, but we're going to use the hard aspects, as they say, conjunction, square, and opposition. So, for example, if you're a midpoint, again, we're going to stick with 13 degrees Gemini. If the sun is at 13 degrees Sagittarius, then you know it's in opposition. Or if it's 13 degrees Virgo, or it can be 13 degrees Pisces, then it's in square. So those will trigger or activate, if you will, that midpoint. So again, keep that in mind as number one. Then you have another technique. The moon travels the whole zodiacal circle in 1 month time. you will notice that it will go through each degree of the zodiacal circle, and it can land on and will land on your midpoint degree, sun, moon, that is. Now, just keep in mind there'll be other ones, but we're going to just develop this as a growth process. And so keep in mind, we're looking only right now as the sun and moon midpoint. And the moon uh, actually stays on a degree, average 2.5 hours once it's at that degree, whatever degree that is. And it happens once a month. So you have a second uh, timing technique. And the last but not least is the ascendant and the midheaven. It takes about 4 minutes every day um, on that degree, whatever degree again. And we're just going to keep this for example purpose 13 degrees Gemini. So once a month, you will have that activation point of the sun and moon of Gemini. So you can use that as another factor. Now, moving on, is we're going to be going into transits that we have done as tools. Now, if you notice, you'll see um, later on in the frame, we're going to start talking about or looking at the symbol. You'll see the 360-degree. I call it dial, but it can be dial, and we use it as normally as charts. We look at it. So the circle equals 360-degree mathematically, and we call it the 360 dial. So look at it from that point there. So that's one of the tools. The other one is the sword, which you're going to see the layout when you see normally the arrow or bouncing out. You'll see these list of planetary seagulls or sigils symbols of the planets, and these are the shorthand. You'll see the planet symbol and the forward slash between whatever symbol the other two involve. And then you may see another shorthand, which will be the forward slash plus the planet and the equal sign, which means that can be a symbol of a direct or indirect midpoint. Now, keep in mind, it seems a lot tedious, but once you get the hang of it, it's not just after going on it day by day. Persistence and patience will get you rewarded in this scenario. And you can actually now develop a technique and a timing technique. But keep in mind, it does require observation. So you will look at that. And the last thing I want to end to is the tree, midpoint tree. Now that's going to be much more of a intermediate or advanced technique, but it's just to keep in mind of where we're journeying and where our destination will actually bring us from different subject matters of midpoints. It is a broad, but it is very fascinating once you get to utilize this system. So keep in mind, this is not just a all in one, but it is a very good if you want to use it as supplementary. Now there are people that just primarily just work with and we'll call them cosmobiologists. And also, it's incorporated with uranium, the dials. And the dials, again, is important, but I'm going to save that for another video, which will give you a total picture, I guess, so to look at it and to actually get a very familiar comprehension. So, on that note, I want everybody to keep in mind, have fun with this. Keep it as a fun technique and a new learning experience, a new tool that you may unveil a lot about yourself and others. And we'll stop it at that. But there will be some more because it goes even into relocation and astrocartography. So, on that note, everybody have a good day and thank you for listening and patience. And please like and subscribe because I wanted one of my objectives is to grow. I do have a Patreon channel, but that's again, this is certain things will unfold later on, but I just want to give you guys primarily the lesson at hand. And so that peace again. Thank you so much.